door trying to convince him that going back to the school would keep child services away, but he just kept saying he hated everyone. That night I made a list of everything that needed to be fixed, but it was 3 pages long and I didn't know where to start. The Etsy complaints kept coming, and Dad's job was hanging by a thread, and Ben was falling apart, and Mom wouldn't stop saying none of this was her fault. We were drowning in consequences from the screen ban, but Mom still wouldn't unlock the safe permanently. She said we just needed to try harder to make the paper systems work, even though Grandma was dead because of them. The bank called while I was eating breakfast, and the woman on the phone said we had $400 in chargeback fees from Mom's Etsy shop because customers kept disputing their charges when they didn't get their orders. Mom stood there holding the phone looking confused, and finally just handed it to me saying she didn't understand what the lady was talking about. I spent 40 minutes on the phone trying to explain that Mom couldn't access her shop to process refunds, and the bank lady kept saying that wasn't their problem. Mom had to give me her debit card number, so I could pay the fees over the phone while she watched me write down every digit on a piece of paper. The next morning, Hosea McReynolds from the pharmacy called our house phone, and his voice sounded so sad when he told me they'd tried to reach us 15 times about Grandma's medication. He walked me through setting up 3 different backup systems for medication reminders, including a paper calendar with red stickers for refill dates, and having the pharmacy call our landline and our neighbor as backup contacts. He kept apologizing even though it wasn't his fault, and said Grandma always talked about how proud she was of her grandkids when she picked up her prescriptions. I wrote down everything he said about the new systems, while Mom listened on the other phone making little crying sounds she thought I couldn't hear. The next day, I spent 8 hours teaching Mom how to check her Etsy messages, because she needed to respond to angry customers before more of them filed complaints. I had to write step-by-step instructions with screenshots I printed at the library, showing her exactly where to click and what each button did. She kept saying, "I don't understand why this is so complicated," every time we had to start over because she clicked the wrong thing. We went through 2 entire notebooks writing down every single step, from logging in to reading messages to marking orders as shipped. She finally managed to send 1 message by herself after dinner, but it took her 20 minutes to type 3 sentences. Dad decided he could handle his own work calendar and spent a whole evening setting up reminders on his phone alarm, but he put everything in military time because he thought it would be easier. He wrote 0700 for his morning meeting in his paper planner, but showed up at 7 at night instead because he got confused about whether 1900 meant 7 or 9. Randall was waiting in the office when Dad showed up 12 hours late and put him on an official performance improvement plan right there in the conference room. Dad came home with a yellow folder full of papers about his work violations and just sat at the kitchen table staring at it. Then we got an email from Cassandra Flowers about her stolen yarn that Mom had ordered special for $200. She wrote 3 pages about how she was going to sue us for theft and fraud unless she got a full refund plus another $100 for her trouble. Mom read the whole thing, getting more and more upset until she just handed me her credit card and told me to make it go away. I had to use the neighbor's computer to process the refund and send Cassandra an apology Mom dictated while pacing around the kitchen. Ben went back to the school after missing a